what really bugs me is people who have lip balms that come in little jars. I don't own one of those, so I can't show you. And they dip their finger in and they apply it to their lips. The worst thing that you can do for your product, because taking your finger, no matter how clean it is, you're applying it. Sometimes, you know, you're sitting in class or you're sitting at work, you apply it as clean as your fingers may seem. You're spreading bacteria into the product, and then you're reapplying that to your lip, and you can get lip infections and things like that. I would advise, if you can, don't use those type of products, especially when you're on the go. So go for something else, something like, you know, the Carmex, because you can go in and clean the top of this. Rubbing alcohol is going to be your best friend when it comes to makeup and all things sanitation. I used to do this all the time. When you're having lunch or you're having dinner, you know, with your girlfriends, and, you know, right after eating, it's like, oh my god, my lipstick came off. And then what you do is you take your lipstick and you reapply it. Sometimes we forget we just ate, even if your mouth's not completely dirty, of course. You just ate, so your mouth has some sort of germs and bacteria, and then you're taking your lipstick and you're putting it straight out of the tube, and then you're closing the tube and putting it into your bag. You just put a ton of germs into this product. What I like to do is, when I'm reapplying, wash my hands, sanitize, take a little bit of the product, put it on my fingertip once, apply it, and then wash my hands. This is probably a lot more sanitary than actually taking the tube and applying it. I also make sure, before I always apply my lipstick, I like to always clean off the top with a little bit of Kleenex. Lipsticks you should not be keeping longer than a year. I don't care how high-end or whatever they are. A year, you could basically start seeing the product decay from the lipstick, the sides of the lipsticks. Let me show you this one. This is actually one that needs to be tossed out, but the sides of the lipstick start looking like that, so you know it needs to be tossed out. You know, anything that's going in the eye with your eyes and lips, and you know, there's water and from the eyes and saliva and all that involved. These are the two products that are really, that you need to be tossing out 6 months to a year. For me, lip liners, I would probably keep about a year, and then for eye pencils, I wouldn't go more than a year. Probably 6 months or so. For me, I have very sensitive eyes, and I can just tell right away when the pencil kind of starts watering up your eyes and things like that. So it needs to be tossed out if it's doing anything like that. So for liquid liners and mascaras, especially mascaras, it should be 3 months. If you're using tons of mascaras, I mean, I see girls all the time on YouTube, they have like a huge collection of mascaras, and then they're mixing and matching them all. To each their own. Me personally, I don't like to do that, because you're taking one mascara. Let's say I have this mascara right here. This isn't a mascara, but let's say I have a mascara and I'm applying it, and this is 3 months old. I take my brand new mascara and I reapply that over it. So any germs that are in your old mascara, because it's 3 months old, are going into your new mascara. So you just pretty much transferred all the germs from this mascara to this mascara, and they're both old. So in the back of your mind, when you are thinking of purging out your makeup and tossing it out, you're gonna be like, okay, the 3-month mascara, let me toss out. Of course, the new mascara, I just purchased this a week ago, but let me hang on to that. So you're not really realizing when you're doing these things. You need to be realizing if this is 3 months old. Same with when girls are applying lipsticks and then they're applying the glosses over. That's why most of the time I like to just put it on my wrist first and then apply it with my fingertip or a brush or something. And I can't stress over not sharing makeup with your besties. The worst thing that you can do not share lip glosses, do not share eyeliners, mascaras. If you really want to share makeup, eyeshadows and blushes I think are okay. Don't be sharing anything that's getting in contact with your eyes and lips, just because you don't want to be sharing an infection. Don't forget that. Any eyeshadow pigments that you have, you don't ever want to be taking a brush and dipping it straight into the pigment. Instead, apply a little bit to the lid, get how much you need, and then clean this with rubbing alcohol before you close it back. Make sure it's nice and dry before you re-close the lid, because that will take moisture into the product and that will ruin your pigments and loose eyeshadows and things like that. These, I would say, last years. Probably about 3 years, I would say. say, for pigments. You're applying this to your eyes, so you don't want to be applying anything super old. So 2 to 3 years for eyeshadow pigments. These Revlon cream shadows, I know these were very popular, so anything like that. If you already like using your fingers, you only want to go once. That's my rule of thumb for anything. If I am dipping it to get primer out or foundation or cream product, go once and that's enough. If you need to reapply, use a different finger or wash your hands and go into the product. So for something like this, a cream product, because it's a cream, I would say 1 year to 2 years depending on how often you use the product. And I just want to stress it's very important to go into your makeup collection, you know, every 3 to 4 months and make sure everything is looking great. Take rubbing alcohol and just kind of clean the surfaces of everything. You don't want to go into a palette where there's products, you know, dripping out, and sometimes you break an eyeshadow or blush and it's raking into going into other products and stuff, and that can create bacteria and things like that. So make sure everything is clean, throwing out any broken things like that. So yeah, any eye products I would use for about 3 to 6 months. The beauty community here on YouTube is all about sharing your tips and tricks so we can learn from each other. So I would appreciate you commenting below. Thanks again for watching, and I hope all these tips were helpful for you. And until next time, bye-bye.